It's still good morning, Anambra, and we are here to talk about a very pressing issue of importance to us, and of course, to know which way to go. It's ASUU strike and the students, the effect it's having in the society, and of course, how the students are taking it this time around. It's been 2 months plus and ongoing that ASUU embarked on strike to press home their demands. And of course, this is not the first time Nigerians are experiencing strike. Virtually all sectors go on strike to press home one demand or the other. This morning in the studio we have a student to I think he'll be in a very good position to tell us how it feels being at home all this month. Charles Obaleze. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Charles.
Thank you. Thank you, my viewers.
All right, we also have a guest, Comrade Emeka Nwabunia, who is the immediate past chairperson ASUU Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University, Ibarriam. Comrade, we are glad to have you in the studio.
Thank you, and thank you, viewers.
All right, now, Charles, let me begin with you. How does it feel being at home for, 2 months and still counting?
Okay, first of all, by the time I speak based on my own personal experience of how I feel, I'll first of all speak on the effect it has on the students generally.
No, I wanted to begin with you.
With myself?
Yes. How does it feel?
Okay, being at home for so long, it's been a while. Being at home, not being in touch with the lectures and the rest. The effect is that it keeps me away from the school environment, and I can say that some things I've learned. That the space of time of this strike has made me forget some things that I've learned earlier, and it may have effect on me when I resume studies again. That is the effect. And also being at home, being idle. Of course, it is said that an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So it is not encouraging at all for me to be at home.
All right, you don't really feel good. We'll still.
I don't feel good.
You don't feel good.
Yes.
We'll still get to the effect, But now, tell us, what actually is this that each time we want to press home demand, ASUU will go on strike? Tell us, what is it?
We have a government that doesn't listen. Things we can do in 1 month, we have a government that would want such things done in 1 year. They are wasting our time, the time of the country. ASUU doesn't embark on any strike without first, writing to government, discussing the issue, complaining to the public and to the government sectors. But each time you do these things, no person listens until that strike begins. The government had a chance of sitting down with ASUU as early as last August. I could remember after a particular NEC meeting, there was communique and all those stuff. And press conference a press briefing was given by the ASUU president, articulating most of these things. I remember that was a continuation of what started in 2017, and that of 2017 must be connected with 2013 and on and on and on, it goes. ASUU doesn't call off any strike. We suspend strike because in most cases the issues are not finished. Government will promise that they will do A, B, C, D, and at the end of the day they just do A. And sometimes out of compassion, ASUU will say, okay, haven't done A, which is not more often than not even up to half of what they're supposed to do. A strike is suspended. Our government will give like in 2017, it was memorandum of action.
Okay,
honestly, this is an eye-opener.
Yeah.
I'm hearing it for the first time that ASUU don't call off strike, but it's suspended.
Yes, except a particular issue has been finished.
With this singular statement of yours, don't you think ASUU is the big problem in this case? Now, why I actually said that is, ASUU don't call off strike, they suspend strike because probably ASUU wants 10 naira. and the government has said, okay, you know what, see, there's no money, please manage 2 naira now or 3 naira, then ASUU suspends strike. In the next 1 year, 2 years, ASUU is angry again, they are back. See, you told us you were going to give us 10 naira, you just give us 2 naira last time. Federal government said, okay, fine, you know what, have this 3 naira. And this thing goes on and on and on. Now, my question is, because if you look at it over the years in our education sector in Nigeria, it has not been good. It's nothing to write home about. From what I can remember, even it's been over how many years I'm done with the university. Even before I got into the university, it has always been from 1 year to the other, strike. Probably somebody gets into the year 1. Before you get into year 3, you know, a 4-year course, you're going to do it for 7 years. You're going to do it for 8 years because of the strike issue. Why have ASUU failed in making it possible that they get this thing once and for all? Because you just said something about not calling off the strike, suspending the strike, because maybe a small quarter of your demand has been met, but the whole issue has not been solved. Why can't ASUU drive this thing home once and for all? I was saying the other time, if it's going to take 2 years of strike, let it go. If it's going to solve the problem. Because since you don't call off strike, you suspend strike. Where do we go from here?
Okay, 2 years of strike will be marvelous. But it's only federal government that will make that strike last for 2 years. Remember, we're talking about an agreement, we're talking about implementation.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for an individual, for government to go into an agreement without, living up to that agreement. That's the major problem.
Yeah.
In this particular strike now, we're talking about implementing that which has been agreed upon over the years.
Okay.
And then we are talking about renegotiating. 2009 agreement has to be renegotiated. It was supposed to be renegotiated every 3 years. 2012, 2015, 2018.
Yeah.
It has not. When it was started in 2017, because of that 2016 strike, it was the case of Dr. Obalake, the son. And for more than 1 year, nothing was achieved. No ground was covered as far as that renegotiation is concerned. For now, since the past 2.5 months, we are talking about implementing that which has been agreed upon over the years.
Okay. All right. I think last week, federal government gave out something, and ASUU said, no way, we are not going back to classroom. And do you think this is a way to really, get the government to do what they're supposed to do, so that strike will not reoccur, in a very close time? What do you think?
Okay. What did they give out? For the past 2 years plus, more than 12, 14 federal universities have been short-paid salary, what we call salary shortfall. Somebody who is supposed to earn 10 naira, you pay the person 7 naira. And you do that for 1 year, for 14 months. And that's what we say, what are you doing? So the 15 million they're talking about, part of it will go into salary shortfall. And you don't give money to ASUU. Let us get it clear. We don't manage university fund. So ordinarily, government wants to be realistic and truthful to itself. Are we supposed to be talking about people's salary? That you should pay somebody consistently for 12 months, 14 months. If you bring out money for that, channel it through the university system, let the vice chancellors and chairman of council handle the money, and pay whosoever you have short paid.
All right.
You get what I'm saying? So that's not a major issue. That's not a major issue. The other 20 billion they're talking about, which they started talking about in August. Yes, I think the money has been pulled out. Once more, you pass it through the Implementation Monitoring Committee of Needs Assessment Fund. Are you with me? And they determine the sharing formula.
I don't think it has really nailed my question, because I wanted to know if, just like what Ogonna asked, that why can't ASUU really go on strike and get the government to do what they are supposed to do?
That's why the strike is still on.
Yes. My question was that, when government gave out something last week, and as you said, is that part of the plan, to really get them to do something so that we don't go back and start going, all over again for strike?
No, there are a lot of big issues on the table and small issues, and government is trying to address some of the small issues. But as I talk to you, most of those monies, those little monies they're talking about, proportionately, they're little money. Remember, the big chunk is the 1.1 trillion, an accumulation of what is supposed to be part of, what's supposed to go into this assessment fund from 2014 to 2018. That's a big chunk. The issue of NUPENCO, ASUU has met all the conditionalities. That's the pension administrator for the university system. ASUU has met all the conditionalities. The Federal Ministry of Education is following up on that to make sure that the certificate is released. That one is also no longer a major issue here.
All right, I think we'll get back to you. Let's quickly go to the studio right now to get the feel of the masses concerning the ASUU strike. We'll be back.
It's really affecting students. Most of them are supposed to be doing their year one clearance, and because of the ASUU strike, they are suspended at home. Even if an IA student, so most of them are supposed to clear themselves. Due to this ASUU strike, you can't go to any lecture for signing, specifically the HOD or the dean. So it's really affecting them very much, and the government should know what they will do about it.
We had a story where a student was traveling back and he had an accident and died. If he were to be in school, I don't think he's going to die. The government, they have this money, they should pay and get the student back to class.
Those children at home, within that age bracket, they are not supposed to be at home. Because once their minds are not kept busy, it can lead them into so many things like theft. Talking about girls can go into prostitution because they have quite a lot of time wasting. Their minds are not busy, they are not doing anything. They will start thinking about alternatives, something else to do, because within that age bracket, they are not supposed to stay idle. Some of them might lose interest, go into business, or might want to go into business, and they will be forced back to school. When they get there, they won't perform as much as they would have done if they had been steady in the school. So therefore me, I'm pleading to the government that they should look into this matter and call off this strike so that our children can go back to school.
The strike, we have Basalo, Lola's current already near. Students, I'm not from me, no, if I court. Mozubo in the Kusa info increased because of Nagene, na student on a strike. Monobuna na Guapo, the child I am boy is wefe, Ipagale, the choice for your gaze, more court. So our government now contribute the pain parents in a tough affair. All this strike and a question about strike in Nigeria because Nigerian government will live in age where Megane we open the lecturers over. The government should come and can rescue all this problem.
It's horrible, honestly, because I have a friend. It's really affecting her. Even my friends, they are all in the house. They are not doing anything. Because many people will start thinking they have lost hope and they'll start joining bad gangs or maybe, this is really bad. Federal government should just please help us.
All right, it's still good morning, Anambra, and we've gone to the field and felt the pulse of the masses concerning the ASUU strike. We've had men and women speak there. I think they spoke more on the effect of this strike on the students. And we have a student in the studio quickly react to what they've said. Some said that these students may go into robbery, crimes of all sorts because they are idle. So quickly react to that.
All right. Now, to me, what this is, the field study now automatically is trying to bring out the concomitant effect of this strike action. That is the effect that moves simultaneously with the strike action, which includes stealing, of which one that has been making around the net is the stealing of pants. you see youth stealing pants because the Nigerian government or ASUU is now trying to prove to them that education is no longer the key to success. Since their education has been stagnated, so they now have the mentality of quick wealth syndrome, whereby they go stealing to buy Benz and all these things. Then others is prostitution, and then we also have and a lot of vices. But my point is, it is instructive to note these things exist. These things even stealing exist, even when school is in section. Students abuse drugs in school. But the important fact is that the high rise of the perpetration of these vices now calls for a serious concern, which also smacks of negligence and also dereliction of duty on the part of the federal government to rise up and terminate this canker that has eaten deep into the Nigerian universities and also whittling down the societal values. Now, when we move to the aftermath effect of this strike, of course, one of the effects that will be on ground now when this has to cause of this strike is what I regard as the miniature war. That is a face-off between the landlords and also students. Because prior to this strike, now students have resumed their accommodation rent. But by virtue of this strike, they weren't able, or they are not able now to enjoy the accommodation they have paid for. And when this strike is resumed, sooner than later, their accommodation will expire. And I don't think that students will definitely give up possession so easily without fighting for an extension of time. Because of this supervening event that has intervened here and frustrated their accommodation contract. Then do we speak of citizens that emigrate out of the country in droves to study outside the country? And also do we speak of also the private universities that are not getting much patronage than the public universities? These things that they're unhealthy. If the government should look into these things and also reposition the Nigerian university to ensure that the Nigerian university matches international standards and also compete with our contemporaries across the globe, then Nigeria will bounce back to buoyancy. Also, I made a research, the CWUR World University Ranking, version 2008-2019. To my utmost dismay, the only university that appeared, Nigerian university that appeared there is the University of Ibadan, and it was ranked as the 991 position. Now, this is the height of academic decadence. I told myself that this poor ranking is not peculiar to African countries, because I saw a university in Cape Town, that is South Africa, that came between the range of 1 to 100, and also a lot of Western universities came within that range. So you can see that these people now, that the difference between Nigeria and these countries is that these people made what is known as a tactical masterstroke decision, which now help the institution. That is, the society keeps on harvesting scholars from the institution. But in Nigerian case now, the society is harvesting half-baked graduates, and when you relate that to those in the medical field, you see that it becomes a nuisance to human life, because if someone that is kept at home for strike, the person comes into the office, comes into the hospital, there is likelihood of killing.
He has made value point. I mean, he's hit the nail on the head straight up. Now my question is, considering all this he has said, ASUU as a body, if the federal government eventually meets the demand of ASUU, will this increase the educational standard of public universities in Nigeria?
Yes. Let me start from the big one. The 1.1 trillion, which I said is for needs assessment fund, is very important. If you consider the impact of the 200 billion that the federal government released in 2013, and never released again on the universities. I come from a state university. Without that money and without that fund, you find out that infrastructural development in our own university would have been next to nothing. Without apologies, that's the truth. And that is the situation in every state university. And that is the situation in a lot of federal universities. So that particular fund, or funds, intervention funds, have great impact. You know, they are used in building hostels, classrooms, laboratories, research facilities, and so on and so forth.
All right, now
you
said...
Wait, just a minute.
We don't have time.
There's something he mentioned about hostels and what will be the impact.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of students live outside the campus. It is not normal. It is not normal. It is the responsibility of government, state, federal, to fund their universities. And that's exactly what ASUU is saying. Bring money into the universities. Let the vice chancellors manage this money. And if any of them embezzles money punish the individual. You get what I'm saying? So what we are pushing for will help to take care of some of these problems.
I'll quickly touch on this one. There's a lot of universities talking about wanting to pull away from ASUU so they could actually continue, teaching the students, because they can't continue with a strike that looks as if it's not giving them any hope. How true is that?
No. The issue is that at every point in time, a few universities have problems that may keep them somewhat away from the union in terms of participation.
Okay,
some of them may be on suspension ever before the strike, because as we get you to do the right thing, if you don't do the right thing, starting from accountability in the branch, because we have one ASUU and so many branches. So you don't do what you want in your own branch. You must work according to the rule.
All right, as a representative of ASUU now, what are you telling the government? Because as a way of summary, we want to go. What are you telling the federal government?
What we're telling the federal and the state governments, is that they should listen to the union. They should understand and appreciate that in the main, it is not what goes into the pockets of lecturers that is the problem. ASUU looks at the university system holistically, the salaries and allowances, and more importantly, the monies that will be used to run that system. And ASUU doesn't run the system.
All right, as a student now, what do you tell ASUU and, of course, the
Your
government?
fellow student.
Okay, at this point in time, I advise the federal government to invite ASUU to the decks and then to do the needful timelessly. But as they resolve this strike, I also have a contribution to make. My contribution on how this protracted strike will be suspended and it won't see the light of the day again in further circumstances is that the public universities should be granted autonomy. I have a reason for that. The benefits cannot be overemphasized. For example, if you compare Nigeria if you make a case study with the United States, we have a university called Ohio University, State University, but this university has its own autonomy. This university, okay, the importance of autonomy is that it makes the university, it makes them think out of the box. They no longer depend on the tuition and also the federal government grants. This university on its own has oil fields, airline, and also hotels, 5-star hotels. Can you imagine that the budget of this university is more than the budget of some African countries?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, we can go on and on, but for want of time, this is where this program actually terminates. We'd like to appreciate you so much, Mr. Charles Obaleze, a student, for coming to join us this morning. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, we also thank you so much. Comrade Emeka Nwabunia, the immediate past chairperson ASUU of Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University, Ibaram. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for helping us put this strike in public view.
All right, we'll go.
Yes, we'll go. And of course, I want to believe you had a swell time hanging loose with us this morning. Well, 9 o'clock is the time for news on the hour. And of course, sports today will be taking center stage at 15:09. Many thanks for joining us. I am Berry Ugunna.
And my name is Nonye Mokoye. Thanks for your time.